Good morning, good afternoon, good day, everybody. Welcome to our Zoom study session for Ngöndro study. Today we'll study lesson 61 on chapter of action, karma, the principle cause effect. And we are studying the second item, taking what is not given. And before we start, let's practice the three supreme method. First, we arouse bodhicitta. We practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. This making our practice become a source of merit. And second, remember, during our sessions, we try to be concept free. If we cannot do that, at least we'll be concentrating without distraction. In this way, the merit cannot be destroyed. And of course, at the end, we dedicate the merit, and merit grows until enlightenment. And also, when we enter in the session, we try to practice a pure view, because the word is essentially pure. It's only obscurations we see as impure. So we imagine or think this place, the place we're in, is a perfect place, such as Sukhavati, and we are in the presence of the perfect teacher, Buddha Amitabha, and along with the perfect assembly, lotus family deities, and we are among them. We are studying the perfect teaching, the Mahayana Buddhism, and the time is beyond the 3 times. It's timeless time, the 4th time. With that in mind, let's put our palm together to say our refuge prayer. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, I take a refuge until I attain enlightenment. Through the merit of generosity and so forth, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take a refuge until I attain enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and so forth, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. The 3rd time, please reset yourself. Next, we're generating the bodhicitta in a Mahayana context. I and other sentient beings, infinite in number, have always been Buddhas from the very beginning. In acknowledgement that this is how things are, I generate the mind of supreme awakening. I and other sentient beings, infinite in number, have always been Buddhas from the very beginning. In acknowledgement that this is how things are, I generate a mind of supreme awakening. And the 3rd time, you reset yourself. Next, we recite a 7-line prayer. We can use in Nujan time, Pema Gesa Dombola, and San Juku Nujune, Pema June Shesuta, Go to Kando Mambogo, Vigi Gets a Dadaji, Shinjiraji Shesuto, Guru Pema City Home. Home in the northwest land of Oriana, in the heart of lotus flower, endowed with the most marvelous attainments, you are renowned as the lotus form. Surrounded by many hosts of dakinis, following your footsteps, I pray to you, come, inspire me with the blessings. Guru Pema Siddhi Home. And we, for Jima Punta Rinpoche, our root guru, let's recite sweet bestowal of blessings. In the pure realm of the great sacred site, the 5-peaked mountain, the blessings of Manjushri's wisdom ripen in your mind. Jimmy Ponto, at your feet I pray. Inspire me with the blessings. Transmit the realization of the wisdom mind. Homage to the teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni. Homage to the wisdom warrior, Manjusri. Homage to the entire loving lineage masters. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to meet for 100,000 million years. Now that I get the chance to see, hear, receive, and practice it, may I understand the ultimate meaning of Tathagata. In order to liberate all sentient beings, let's all generate the Supreme Bodhicitta. Okay, today's Mother's Day. And we all say, I love you, Mother's Day. So I think we'll take this opportunity to do a little bit meditation for gratitude and bodhicitta. So I'll read some guided meditation, about 5 minutes. In the meantime, we just look at this picture. Today is Mother's Day. Won't be here at all. Excuse me, I just found again, I missed a little bit. Here we go. Okay. Today.
They have to be on the same page, actually.
I think, okay, maybe I should do it the other way. I'm sorry, I'm still doing this. Then I'll use the link.
Ellie?
Yeah?
You can just go on slide 12.
Yeah?
And then you can copy this and then paste it on slide 11, so you'll be able to show and then play at the same time.
So I click
No,
here.
you copy, you need, because it has to be on the same slide. If you change slide, it stops. But if you copy this on slide 11, you'll be able to play and show the slide at the same time.
Okay, I think it's easier.
Okay.
Today is Mother's Day. Without a mother, we won't be here at all. So let's look at this picture. Imagine we're the baby safely held by our mother. Our mother has been extremely kind to us. Let's meditate on gratitude and bodhicitta on this special day for about 5 minutes. Please sit comfortably with our body relaxed and straight. Let our breath flow naturally. Gently settle our attention in the present moment. Now, bring to mind our mother in this life, or whoever has cared for us in some of the roles. Reflect simply. My mom gave me this body. My mom gave me life and sustained it. She cared for me and nurtured me as I grew. She guided and educated me. Let this reflection soften our hearts. Allow a natural feeling of gratitude to arise. My mom gave me this body. My mom gave me life and sustained it. She cared for me and nurtured me as I grew. She guided and educated me. From this feeling, gently offer to our mother. Mother, may you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you know peace. Mom, may you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you know peace. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you know peace. Then let our mind expand. Consider. In countless lives, all beings have cared for us in this same way, with kindness, protection, and concern. Just as with a mother, all beings wish for happiness and wish to be free from suffering. Let our hearts open further and extend this wish to all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings know peace. Let this include everyone without exception. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings know peace. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings know peace. Now, let this compassion deepen into our motivation. For the sake of all these beings who have been my mothers, may I awaken fully so that I can truly benefit them. For the sake of all these beings who have been my mothers, may I awaken fully so that I can truly benefit them. Rest for a while in this intention. Just let it be sincere and simple. Finally, gently relax everything. Return to the breath. Rest in quiet awareness. Carry this sense of gratitude, compassion, and aspiration into the rest of a day and into many days to come also. Thank you. Today is Mother's Day. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Enjoy the meditation session to feel gratitude for Mother and bodhicitta extended to every sentient being. Okay, there we go. Sorry for my technical little problems. Can you hear me? Yeah, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, go back to our session. We are studying the words of my perfect teacher, and in the ordinary preliminaries, there are 4 thoughts turn in the mind, and amazingly, we already at the 4th thought, the last thought, which we've been covering for 60 sessions already. Okay, so today we're talking the principle of cause effect. Of course, you all remember the first is we have to remember the rare opportunity, having freedom advantage. And then we always remember the impermanence of life and the defect of samsara. There's not a needle. Happiness is like a needle in samsara. So we decide to transcend samsara. And then we should know the principle of cause effect. And for this theme, Patrick Rinpoche made this prayer. We also pray make the same prayer to all lineage masters. Let's put our palm together. You renounce evil and take up good, as in the teachings of the cause effect. Your action follows the progression of the vehicles. Through your perfect view, you are free from all clinging. Perfect teacher, at your feet I bow. So the principle of cause effect have 3 or 4 content. First, talk about 10 negative action, and second, effect of the negative actions and the positive actions. And the fourth one is all determine the quality of karma. We're studying the 10 among the 10 negative action, the negative action of the body, action of the speech, and negative action of the mind. So the 3 physical actions, the first, taking life, you had 2 lessons covering up, supervised, guided by Christina and Jonathan. Today we take the second physical action, taking what's not want. And next will be the sexual misconduct. And 4 verbal action, lying, sowing discord, harsh speech, and words of chatter. And 3 mental act, covetousness, wishing harm others, and wrong views. Okay, so progressively from more gross to more subtle negative actions. So I review a little bit lesson 60, which Jonathan led. Woman eating meats, all lives are precious. Children take life, take animal life, compassion, and the 4 elements of complete action. I think here we put emphasis on the 4 elements of complete action. I think we also remember as for killing is concerned here, the first is when you recognize the target you want to kill, such as a deer, and then thinking, I want this deer. You have this intention. And then you took the arrow and shoot it. And then the animal died, the result. Okay, of course, the death also followed by eating the meat, enjoy it, and rejoice, and so forth. So these are 4 actions that to finish it, to contain all these 4 elements, it's called a complete action. Yeah. Although we are not the person shooting the arrow, there's many subtle points here that we might unknowingly participate in it. So we take the full load of the karmic action too. As it says here, Campbell give an example. When 10 diners order a single large fish for their meal, the karmic effect is not divided by 10. Instead, each diner received the full consequence of killing the fish. Okay, so people wonder, I didn't kill by my hand, and I didn't even think, okay, I'm just come here to eating. Okay, but here is the subtle point. In Mahayana, there's no distinction between killing and causing to kill, because we want to eat meat or fish. Because then the hunter go out hunting and slaughterhouse to become slaughtering. So when paying for meat, we are the financial authorizer. The butcher or the fisher act as our agent because we want it, so they acted. So we are committing the first and second also. And eating the meat, you're mentally approving the result of the killing. We are rejoicing, tastes good. So we have all the 4. It is a complete action. And I show this picture because we're eating the meat. Now the slaughter is globalized, and in Latin America or wherever, because we paid money. So the slaughterhouse is built, the money put in, slaughter and ship over, and so forth. So so this point we have to be real careful. Although of course everybody had to come, what the result is a little bit different, because depend how much we rejoice, how much we eat, and so on and so forth. But there's a certain share for you for this karmic load. So this is what we learned from last lesson, which is, I think it's very important. And also we try to, we might not intentionally kill little insects, so forth. So I think the Campbell give us a very skillful way to avoid unintentional killing. And there's a little phrase we recite in the morning. First, we recite Buddha name and just say, from dawn to dusk, all living beings, take care of yourself. If you lose your lives under my feet, may you be reborn in Pure Land. And as you say, eating it so hard, it really so hard, and eating it so hard 3 times. Okay, so in the morning, try to remember that. So with that, let's go into lesson 61. Taking what's not given. So there's 3 kinds. First, actually, I want to discuss the word taking what is not given. This is a new word for me, at least in Chinese. Chinese is just steal. Okay, we all know what is steal. But why would it use taking what is not given? So if we look at it, actually, there is subtle difference. There's subtle difference here. Excuse me. Stealing usually implies illegal act, shoplifting, burglary, or mugging. And taking what is not given is much broader, okay? It's acquiring or object a resource that has not been explicitly or implicitly granted. If that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Okay. And the scope of object stealing is physical good, money, tangible asset. But taking much to give is hidden resources such as tax payment, unpaid fee, or excessive use of public facilities. Okay, for stealing, usually defined by criminal laws. But taking what is giving is more, it's less on crime, but more on personal integrity, greed, entitlement, or disregard to others, subtle exploration, and habit. Okay, and the steering the owner could be individual or business. Most individual, maybe individual people going into other people's house and stealing things. But taking what is giving could be an individual, a group, a community, government, or countries. And stealing is forceful, secret removal of properties. But taking what is giving is more subtle, such as copy others' work without credit and report exaggerated working hours, or inferring using others' labor, such as the boss demanded on weekend you have to answer my email or respond to me. Okay, monetizing others' content. This is very interesting. Actually, recently there is a doctor called Dr. William Lee. He's a very popular health guru. And there's one website, talking how to take care and so forth. So, and then he said, that's not me. Okay. Like this AI content, after it's out in 2 days, like million people watch it and then they collect money. But it's not Dr. Lee's work. They just AI duck his face and do very perfect adaptation of his teaching, and they make money from it. So called monetizing from others' content, and also pressing others, taking credit, monetize time. In a meeting, you just keep on talking, and exploring others' kindness. Okay. So what is the antidote? For antidote for stealing, you just don't steal. But for taking what is not given is more difficult. It's cultivating honesty, be contentment, and respect boundaries, and then consent and gratitude. And it's just maintain integrity even nobody's seeing us. So I think that's, we thankful Buddha for this, not just stealing, but it's taking what's not given. That's much broader sense. Okay. And that's what we are learning here today. So in lesson 60, when there's 3 questions, we'll go over them. And also, I think that I add one more is what the Camp would advise to engage in business properly. Maybe you could discuss this too. So we start with text reading one. Do we any volunteer would like? This is just short one for the first kind of taking what not given. Will we start from the bottom? Oh, Sanu, you have to leave. Maybe you could read it, Sanu.
Okay. Taking what is not given is of three kinds: action of their killing or stealing. Taking what is not given. Scope and definition. Of the 10 negative actions to be avoided, we have covered taking life. Today, we will study taking what is not given. Taking what is not given is one of the three categories: taking by force, taking by stealth, and taking by trickery. Taking by force. This is also known as taking by overpowering. For instance, a powerful figure, such as a king, may not rely on lawful taxation but instead seize others' property or possessions, such as mines, land, and other assets, through illegal force and coercion. Alternatively, such a powerful individual may openly plunder by deploying their army. People are becoming increasingly greedy. It is said that the Iraq War, initiated by the George W. Bush administration in 2003, was partly motivated by the desire to gain control over Iraq's oil resources. Similarly, in 1840s, the British government sent military forces to invade China, coercing the Qing Empire into paying a significant indemnity and granting extraterritorial rights in economic, political, and military matters. This Opium War was also fueled by greed. These invasions can be seen as large-scale acts of taking by force. By comparison, when one person takes another person's possessions, it can be described as taking by force on a smaller scale. For instance, it is not uncommon for bigger or older classmates to take a schoolchild's favorite pens and toys, leaving the child feeling unable to report the incident. Bigger children forcefully seizing the belongings of a younger child exemplifies taking by force. In fact, the precept concerning not taking what is not given is quite strict. For instance, if someone overtly or covertly takes 2 or 3 yuan, equivalent to 40 or 50 cents, from another person, this already violates the precept.
Thank you.
Therefore, it is relatively easy to commit such a transgression. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, have you experienced this kind of taken by not given by yourself, or what do you think about what just read? Yeah.
Uh, uh, about the latter part, in schools, this is very common. Uh, s- like I, the bullies take away the stuff of the weaker children. Uh, I have personal experience with this too. Like uh, I think in 11th standard it was the worst. Uh, because some of the older students who were elder than us, they didn't get promoted for 2-3 years, and they were much bigger than us, and they started to extort things from others. So this is an example of taking what is not given.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, actually, it's very common because they're so powerful, and the government sometimes just take things away.
Yeah, the government actually is doing the same to me also. They are like trying to seize the land illegally, and I think I messaged you that like this government has gained even more seats in the legislature, and they are trying to exalt a lot of things, and the politicians are also like very corrupt. They go and cut down the protected forest and take the timber from the forest illegally, which are protected. But since they are in the government, nobody can question them, and they take away the timber from the forest by force, although it is protected by law on paper. So this
Yeah,
is another example.
yeah, exactly. So even the government, committing this taken by force, and also happening on the personal level. Does anybody had any experience or thought to add here or about taken by force? And thinking broadly, actually, like slavery is also taken by force. You taken, you become a slave, and that's another form. And sexual assault, it's a way invading others' body and demanding overwork without compensation and forcing people
No,
agreement.
I
Yeah.
think the
Uh-huh.
third one is uh, very, very common here, demanding overtime without compensation. In the Western countries, I think they have a lot of worker right legislations, but here, uh, they like threaten the people that they will fire them if they don't do overwork. But here there is no overwork paid, like no compensation, monetary or anything is paid to them, and they are forced to do the work even after 8 hours of work a day. Even like it reaches sometimes 10-15 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's common because the boss give you the money, salary. Another form is that maybe if people is more motivated, they try to do a good job. They might just do them on themselves, but a little different. That's not forced. Okay, so I know that Silicon Valley people work 16 hours a day or something. That seems pretty common these days. Yeah. So anybody more to say? But we have two more kinds of taken by force. Let's move to the second one. Anyone want to read? Volunteer? Maybe Nim, can you, or Fisher, can you read this?
Taken by stealth. This means secretly taking someone else's possessions, like a burglar, without being seen by the owner. In recent years, theft has become more frequent in large cities. I was informed that the supermarket had experienced over 100 thefts in a single month, resulting in significant losses. Theft also occurs in schools. Various items, such as clothing and stationery, are sometimes stolen. Children who steal at school may not have been taught proper behavior by their teachers. If such a child does not correct their behavior at a young age, they're likely to become even worse as they grow up. For example, they may engage in corruption and speculation, ultimately leading to their own ruin and harming others. To a person without a conscience, stealing brings great pleasure, while a person with a conscience understands that stealing causes great pain to others. The treatise on the great perfection of wisdom says, one should not take possession of others' belongings, as they are like a blazing fire. If one steals others' belongings, the owner will cry and become frustrated. The problem of theft is widespread in today's society. The situation is a consequence of the deteriorating social atmosphere. People's morality, conscience, and kindness are diminishing, while negative emotions such as lust, anger, and ignorance, along with erroneous views, are becoming more pronounced. Consequently, although skyscrapers are growing taller each year and cars and luxury condos are becoming more comfortable and elegant, people's moral standards are declining, leading to a decrease in overall happiness. As a result, the happiness index in major cities is gradually decreasing. Stealing is a negative action that we should all understand from an early age. Monastics should not steal. Otherwise, they're not permitted to remain in the Sangha. Lay people should not steal either. Something may have gone wrong with social norms, values, or education in some rural areas, where stealing is considered an act of heroism. When a parent sees their child stealing, they do not punish the child. Instead, the parent encourages the child, saying, "You're great, you deserve a reward. Can you steal this or that next time? You're getting smarter and more capable. You will become better. You will be better when you grow up. What a hero." Such an upbringing is completely twisted. We as human beings must know what to do and what not to do.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, this stealing by stealth is what common and known, most common and known, that, we have a thief coming in the house and so on and so forth. So what comes to your mind when you're reading this? Do you agree
I
with?
think one thing that stuck out to me as I was reading, but it did get corrected. If the part where he says kids in school are stealing and the teacher should correct the behavior. And I thought, yeah, no, I don't agree. I think the teachers should support in correcting the behavior, but the parents should teach their kids what's morally right and what's morally wrong. It should begin at home and not be left on the teachers to do that level of education. Teachers are just part of the community, but they're not solely responsible for any child's morality or moral values. But I do agree that as things become harder and societies grow, people just want more. And sometimes you can't afford more. And people think that the only way to get what they want is to steal. Well, some people think the only way to get what they want is to steal. And so we have people stealing, like breaking into somebody's house and taking obviously what's not given. But we have people stealing little things like stealing the sharpener, or stealing the paper at work, or just taking little things, going to the supermarket and putting stuff in your cart. Like I've seen people do that. You get to the checkout counter and you don't put it on the counter, you just roll out with it because people need things. And then there are people who are in situations where stealing is their only option. They know it's not right, but to survive, they're in a situation where they have no choice. So I don't know. I think stealing is wrong. Obviously, it's wrong, morally wrong. But I think as times get harder and harder and society changes and we are being sold this concept of needing to have certain things, or we just need certain things to survive on a whole, I think we're going to see stealth getting more prominent. It already is, but I think it's going to get more prominent, especially in larger cities, where the cost of living is just way more than people can afford.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So I think this, for example, I lamented the morality is declining.
Yep.
Because as we people just think, oh, everybody doing this has become a norm. So that's and again, the education is very important for parents. Teacher, I think if a student still in school, they will be punished. But education started from home. Some mention here, some parents praise the kids, you're so good, you can do better like a hero and so forth. So that's a wrong way to bring up the kids. So it's very important because another thing
Some
is,
parents actually,
yeah, go ahead. Yes.
I was going to say that there are places where some parents, I've heard, I don't have any personal experience, where parents actually send their kids to steal because they think the kids will get away with it more than they would if they got caught.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I heard that. Some cities they have little kids, eat that they're not as a big target to be noticed, and then they can do that, pocket picking or whatever. And then, yeah, that's
Then, yeah.
Yeah. So I think later on, and also people, I think Campbell mentioned that Buddhist principle will know. So what is a karmic result for steering? If people steal, what repercussion that person will get if not dislike? I mean, if not caught, but this is imprint also already in this person's mind. So what will be the ripen effect for steering? Anybody idea?
I mean, experience similar to the cost. So you'll get stolen from in the future and you'll experience poverty and I guess a lack of having stuff that you want.
Yeah, poverty, you'll be poor. And then also your thing will get stolen. It'll come right back to you. And maybe in much larger scale. Okay, so because the common laws is infallible, and people just don't realize it and just think the very short term, I possess these things I really want, even doesn't belong me. So they are taken by when the owner did not know. And also another important thing, I think in here, it says for people who lost things, they have become cry and become very frustrated. That also you printed a bad connection for that people you stolen things from. You make that person sad and frustrated, and the coming back the result coming back is you will become much more frustrated or hurt maybe by the same person, but maybe in other situations you will get back the result. Okay, so we have to be careful. If people know the result, what they are getting, they I think will be more careful about the steering. Yeah. Anyone had any experience your things being stolen? How do you feel? And or have you seen incident like this?
Well, I mean, I did have experience. I remember I was waiting for bus at the bus stop, and my bag was wide opened. Not wide open. Somebody unzipped the bag, and I saw when I looked down, somebody was, well, uh, trying to get something from my bag. But then, well, I mean, it's common sometimes. Back in those days, that was in Manchester. Uh, yeah. Well, that's all. But what I want to say was that earlier, when you talk about uh, what we could do to help younger children, right? I think religious studies, such as Buddhism, religions like Christianity or Buddhism, they should be more, I think they should play more role in the society to help young children to learn about um the right approach. Yeah, because you can't we can't rely on society or social society or education, or we cannot just simply rely on the teachings from a school, because it is just um, it is just not it is just becoming so much harder for people to learn virtuous uh, uh, what you call it, conscience. It's difficult, more difficult nowadays. The society is more complicated for young children, for people to learn the right uh, disciplines, correct disciplines. Uh, yeah, correct discipline. Yeah, or right view towards life. Yeah, I think I used the right word. Yeah, that's it. That's all for me.
Another thing, the easy thing, maybe just let imagine, like the kids, they love a toy very fondly, and they say, what would you feel if it's stolen by someone else? Just to put ourselves into other shoes, and then we know the people will be desperate, losing things. So maybe, but still that maybe not the effect. That's why we have laws against theft, or a burglar will be punished and so forth in the society. But that's not actually stealing. It's much more easier these days. Probably by stealth. Actually, in internet we'll talk about by trickery next time. The next category. It's so much easier these days to take people things not belong to us. Again, I think you say it's very correct. I think in 10 Commandments, one is thou shalt not steal. Okay, it's always say you should not, people should not steal other things, but just because people become too greedy these days, they one thing they not belong to them. So it's education is very important, and also religious themes, and also conscience. We all have conscience. We know what is right, what is not right, but usually that's not so obvious. So that's why the society, the morality is getting declining. Yeah. So the third.
Jonathan raised the hand. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. Just two things. First is I've experienced the opposite of stealing, which is returning something that was lost or misplaced. I just wanted to take the upside of it, because sometimes I can be very lightheaded and forget things everywhere. And then once I left my wallet on the top of the car doing something, and then eventually, it's afterwards I realized that I left it on top of the car and then left with my wallet on top of my car, and then lost my wallet, obviously. So I thought I need to replace, to call the government and get all my cards back, which is a major hassle. But then a few days later, someone knocked on the door and then returned the wallet.
Oh my gosh.
And I can say I'm lucky to live in an environment where this is possible. But I really appreciated that kindness, and even the money that was in the wallet was there, so nothing was misplaced. So I just want to say that sometimes people can be extremely kind-hearted, and then this was very. I experienced it as something very warm, and then I was lucky that also my kids were around, so they could witness this. So I think that this was a great thing that I think I will never never forget. So when people are kind to us, it's unbelievable the effect that it can have. So I think that it's also something that I try to emulate at the same time. Not this is something that happened before my studying Buddhism, and then it really left a big impact on me. And another thing is to come back to, if you go a little bit higher in the text, like Kempo talks about heroism. If you just go up a little bit, maybe you passed it.
Yeah.
Just there's a place where Kempo says that for some people, stealing can be a form of heroism. We go down a little bit, I think. Still.
It was already here.
Anyways, like Kempo was saying that for some people, it's kind of very twisted, and then stealing is seen as a form of heroism. Here. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then actually there was a TV show in Quebec called Les Bougons. The name doesn't matter, but the whole series was about a family who was actually going into lots of schemes every day to steal from people, from the government. They had a lot of elaborate things that they were doing to try to take advantage of everybody. And this actually was quite a popular series when it was released, and it lasted for a couple of seasons. So in a way, I think it comes to this idea of how society sometimes shows weird cultural signals to people. And then I know that a lot of people in Quebec, and it's not only in Quebec, it's everywhere in the world, they take honor and pride in stealing from the government, for example. So I just think that this is an interesting. So now I'm taking the opposite side of what I was saying, but sometimes the society itself is sending signals that it is okay to be against, to go against and steal. So I just think that indeed it makes things very complicated and sends weird signals to people. And on top of that, as Ifesha was saying, like there are people who are in situations where stealing is not really where like returning is not an option as what the people did to me. Like they were so kind in return, but in other places returning would not even be an option because it's necessary. And then this also makes me in a way try to think compassionately about people who steal, because obviously they might have reasons to steal, and then they might be afflicted by emotions that they cannot really, or situations that they cannot control, and especially they will be experiencing the consequences as you mentioned before. So also one thing that I'm thinking whenever I fear that I could lose something, I'm trying to flip it quickly and say, I hope that no one will steal because this would be very bad for them. And then in a way, my misplacing something, as I said, I can be a little bit distracted sometimes. So my misplacing something could cause someone stealing my thing. And then if they do, then they're going to generate consequences for themselves. So I'm thinking in a way that I need to be careful with what I do so that I don't lead people I don't create situations where it could be easier to steal and then experience the consequences. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good thought, to be careful not creating conditions for others commit mistakes. Yeah. And also thank you for sharing this lovely story. And this is so-called random act of kindness. And there are kind people around, although we might lament society morals declining, but I think there are kind people still around. So that's, that's need to be cultivated in some way. Yeah, thank you. Okay, why don't you
Maxine to raising the hand. Okay.
Yes, yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, I would like to say nearly the same thing, that I experienced this a lot, and it's relatively easy to do among other acts like stealing by force and trickery. And because other actions require efforts, and stealing by stealth is effortless, really. And it immediately can grow to a bad habit. It could be, and then it could be hard to revert the mind to normal state, because people can succeed in this business immediately.
Yeah, people, it's just so easy means people just careless and still easily. That they could hide from people, but they cannot hide from the conscience or the karmic law. That's the thing to be careful about. Okay.
I saw that a lot in in markets and in shops. I saw that many times.
Yeah. Okay. Because all the market, the more the items
Even
are
yes,
displayed.
and even sorry,
Yeah.
and even kids did that.
Yeah. And they feel proud of it. That's the thing. That's a real twisted view. Yeah. Okay.
I want to ask questions about Tibet nowadays. I remember from some of the texts they were talking. Campo was talking about the people, or Christina, I think, or someone says in Tibet, the people are very down to earth, and they are, because of very rich Buddhism cultures there. Also, the people are very gentle, very kind, very generous. Uh, so it's all because of the blessing of the Dharma. So I want to know, nowadays, are they still the same, or like back 10 years ago when Campo wrote this commentaries? Uh, is is it still the same? The virtuous cultures in Tibet. Does anyone know, or you don't?
I think not directly, but with everything become accessible, internet and so forth, I think that maybe the kids are not as brought up in a very religious environment much more. That's one thing I know. But I think even here, in not just Tibet, even Tibet at that time, if it's religious, they are still steering as described by Pastor Rinpoche. So I think it's very difficult to put definite characteristic. It's all mixed, just which one is more dominant. That's although the trend in the world is declining, I hope there is some place. Oh, I heard Japan. If you lost something on the subway or something, your bag will be remain there. Nobody will take it. At least in Japan, seems I heard. Not directly, but it seems that the country, it seems that people
Singapore too. Singapore too. I left my phone in the toilet, and I went back 2 hours, 3 hours later. The phone is still there.
oh my God, I'll be so
And it
nervous.
was it was not a cheap smartphone. So it's but in Singapore no one dare to break laws at all. They but at the same time, the children are just so feel so safe in the society. So the parents sometimes might be very worried when they need to send their children away from Singapore, because the children could just walk across the a crossing, traffic light crossing. Is it? Yeah, crossings with just relying on the traffic light. But people might just. But around the world, places other than Singapore, some cars actually don't bother with the traffic light, or they don't stick to the law. They don't adhere to the law. But in Singapore, everybody is just so disciplined. So yeah, it's like Japan.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think there are two factors. First, they have the education and conscience, being be careful, mindful, and also the law may be more strict. So that's good to know there is some sort of quote unquote pure land in somewhere on this earth. Yeah. So Kim, maybe we just read number 3 here since your mic's open. Kim?
Okay. Taking by trickery. This refers to acquiring another person's goods, such as in a business transaction through deceit, by misleading the other party, manipulating weights and measurements, or employing similar dishonest tactics. deception is quite common in the business context. Motivated by greed, countless people engage in trickery without feeling ashamed. These individuals do not believe in the law of karma and lack a conscience. All they care about is making a profit. By behaving this way, they are inevitably accumulating significant negative karma. For example, the quality of food on the market is getting worse and worse. Some food products are of acceptable quality when they apply for a license, but later in the distribution process, they cut corners and put profit first. So the products contain fewer healthy ingredients and more harmful additives. Such ruthless practices ultimately harm human beings and lead to self-destruction. The Sutra of the Right Mindfulness of Dharma states, if one cheats to easily acquire others' possessions, one is very greedy and will often commit negative actions.
Okay, thank you. This is taken by trickery. I think, have you experienced this, or what do you think this kind of
Yeah, I've I noticed, but it's really common nowadays in this degenerate time era. It's just so common. You learned, you realize, you notice, but well, and that's it. But then I just learned. It's well, yeah, just notice. Well, we see sometimes, yeah, people do this. Actually, quite a lot nowadays, to be honest. It seems quite easy, and it's just some parents actually praise uh, the children's if they engage in trickeries in exam or not exam. I don't know. Some parents or some people, some not they see trick. They actually equate trickery to smartness. They think, yeah, trickery it's equal, it's just like smartness. So some people actually see it this way. And if you are uh, 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 adhering to rules and discipline, and they just mark the person as silly, silly, stupid. They are not smart enough in nowadays society, like all the others. They are just, you know what I mean. It's like too righteous, too straightforward. Uh, don't know how to play games and losing out is silly. They don't see any good. They don't see that as a good quality. They see that as a silliness. So it's quite strange nowadays, with this the concept of uh, righteous and as opposed to the concept of trickery. It's strange.
your text readings some more? Could you read here? I think it's mentioned here too.
Oh, okay. Buddhist precepts are not incompatible with worldly ethics. I often think that if people around the world could uphold the most basic Buddhist practices of taking refuge in the three jewels and observing the five precepts, then society would surely become harmonious and the country would be stable. For example, if the mayor of a mayor of a major city, or the party secretary of a municipality, how to pronounce that? Municipality could refrain from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxication. They are less likely to take major mistakes during their tenure. Sadly, the majority are unaware of Buddhism's supreme values. Many government officials fail to refrain from wrongdoing, and at some point cannot resist the temptations of money, ultimately leading to their own downfall. Therefore, as worldly people, we should carefully reflect on these principles. Many believe that as long as they do not personally steal from make money through deception, trickery, or similar means in business, they are not committing wrongdoing. However, any profit obtained through deceit is in essence no different from outright theft. Nothing weakens a lama or monk's mind more than involvement in commerce. Consumed by their transactions, they lose the motivations to study, engage in practice, to purify their obscurations, and in any case, they have little time left for such pursuits. It is inappropriate for a monk to engage in business activities, as nothing can damage a monastic's spiritual path more than this. The sutra that inspires noble intention states, now that I have taken ordinations in pursuit of benefits, I should not enter into competitions and generate negative thoughts without owning lands and running a business. What can possibly lead me into competitions and conflicts?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is reading through it, the text right, written to most monastics that because they ruin their time to study and so on and so forth. But and also I think here Campbell mentioned that the Buddhist precept which we have discussed earlier. So what do you think about here? Yes, long as they're doing a person's deal, but making a profit, they also it's just like the same as outright theft. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
excuse me.
So you ask you. Sorry, what is that a question for me or?
Oh, it's you or anybody? Yeah.
Well, I just think that because I've learned, I've been here for quite a while reading up some Buddhist text. Nowadays, I think everything happens due to the convergence of causes and conditions. So, if I don't make money from whatever I do, it's causes and conditions convergence. If I make lots of money, if I from something from through the right you mean without any deceptions, I think that's also because of the convergence of causes and conditions. So I mean, to me, whether or not I make something out of something nowadays, it is just allow it, just let it be naturally. I wouldn't actually try to take it from, take it with force. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think here it's this statement is pretty strong. Nothing weaken a monk mind more than involvement in commerce. But I think maybe this means all the time, most of the transaction between people talking, bargaining and so forth. But today, running a commerce, it's much more transparent. All the people can fake it also, but most of them are transparent, are traceable. The actions you order, what they deliver, and there's a return policy these days. So I think maybe I don't know if any of us members are involved in business, but maybe be careful. It's not bad. It's just like you follow the rule and everything's traceable. You could show it's apparent. So it's less chance to play trick. Although you can do it, but for normal people, that I guess that's maybe it's a blessing to run a business. these days, not as older time. You have to talk one another and maybe use the wrong scale and to cheat others. But this doesn't, maybe in farmers market would have this opportunity, but not most likely for a modern case. Okay, does anyone has any thought about it? Okay, let's move on. We could, let me see what we have here, okay. Modern commerce, more transparent. Oh, okay. Another thing is fake review. Some people, sometimes I solicited, but if you give a 5-star review, give $20 something. So people buy fake review. That's another trickery. And then there's sometimes we can, oh, this I'm in emergency, send me money and so forth. That's also another way. And then phone imposter collecting payment. And this is real, like they pretend to be government, you have some unpaid traffic tickets or, fine, didn't pay. Actually, we have people been really, clear up their savings source by some phone calls, so be very careful. So the antidote is that we have to be careful about the conscience and the precept and understand the law of karma, and then be careful indirect theft, not because we're not direct steering, and then we are free, but not. Okay, let's review the law of karma. Okay, I think everybody, and then we'll review them later on. The law for karma is first, karma and its result are certain and unvarying, means positive action always produce happiness and negative action always produce suffering. So when they taught us that do not commit, negative action, it's not because of morality, it's because they know that it will bring suffering. Okay, it's totally just a natural law. Okay, so this is unvarying, okay? And second, karma expand, magnify from very little seed, we can see, from the initial cause, a small, seemingly insignificant action can lead to massive future consequences, which we can see as tiny seed grow like a big tree. And then the third one, no result come from a cause. Okay, things do not just appear out of nothing. You will not experience the consequence of an action it did not commit. Okay, things do not happen randomly. So with this, when something to happen to us, we think these things happen to me. I must have engaged some causes beforehand. Okay. The fourth one, once an action is done, the results never lost. Karma does not just disappear. As long as the karmic seeds is planted in the mind, it will ripen eventually, even for a long time. So I think this will be good to encourage us, even I do some tiny virtues, it's going to bring result. Okay, even we study, listen to one teaching and so forth, train our mind, even it's tiny step, it will result. So I think with this, we know this karmic law, we will know how to adjust our action and so forth. But
I remember there was a monastic, or there was a masters on YouTube. He said every day you chant Om Bensa Sato Hom 7 times every day, just to purify, repent, purify the negative actions committed perhaps on that day or the day before. Every day, 7 times a day. Of course, well, we do. I'm still, yeah. That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we every morning we are supposed, encourage us to recite Om Bhatta Sato Hom, to repent, whatever. And also Om Mani Padme, whatever. It's good to keep a regular practice, even if it's a little bit, but try to keep consistent. Okay. So this time we could we did first question: how many kind of taking what is not there and easily taken by force, stealth, and trickery. And the first use power, status, and coercion. The second takes the owner does not notice. The third use of fraud, clever tricks, or false speech, and lawfully obtain something. Okay. So let's move to the reading number 4. Maxine, could you help?
All right. Where to start?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
4 levels.
As you may already know, a superior practitioner can benefit countless beings. For instance, one of the 4 main Kadampa disciples constructed 108 monasteries during his lifetime. Master Xu Yun of Chinese Buddhism managed 15 Dharma centers, revitalized 6 lineage temples, and supported 5 schools of Chan Buddhism. A middling practitioner devotes themselves to diligent practice while overseeing their Dharma center. An inferior practitioner, however, experiences various afflictions daily. The worst practitioner, instead of benefiting sentient beings, often engages in actions that harm themselves and others. Even if we are not superior practitioners at this time, it is certainly worth rejoicing in their achievements. Some people often say, everything is empty, so what's the use of building a Dharma center? Such a comment is not right. Although ultimately all phenomena are empty, we shouldn't give up accumulating merits on the relative level. Master Xu Yun said, though it is like flowers in the sky, many Buddhist ceremonies still need to take place. Though it may seem like the moon reflected in water, many temples still need to be constructed. For those of you who have come to the Tibetan regions to study, please focus your attention on propagating the Dharma, which is of great importance to each of you. Once you have learned, you should return to your hometowns. There is an old saying in Tibet, birds return to their nests as they grow old, and people return to their hometowns as they age. At that time, if you have the capacity and resources, you should build temples. If you can open the temple to the public, at least a dozen nearby residents will often come to chant prayers and study the Dharma. Gradually, the roots of merit, compassion, and wisdom will permeate their mind stream, which can be passed down from generation to generation. This is very meaningful. Apart from getting basic necessities, such as clothing and food, a true practitioner should focus on benefiting others and on studying and practicing the Dharma. From a Buddhist perspective, people generally seek solace in their faith when faced with hardships. Therefore, it would be more beneficial to provide them with Dharma teachings. The abbot of a Dharma center should pay close attention to hearing, contemplation, and meditation in the monastery, rather than making it a profitable organization. Otherwise, if you focus all your attention and energy on accumulating wealth, you will neither benefit sentient beings nor succeed in your own practice. Why is that? If you spend your entire day rushing around, seeking business opportunities, you will not have any time or energy left for studying and practicing the Dharma. Eventually, you will become no different from a worldly person, and your conscience will fade away. As a result, any sense of devotion, renunciation, or compassion is completely lost, leaving you engulfed in continuous delusion. Here is an inspiring story about Milarepa. One night, Milarepa arrived at the monastery and lay down to sleep outside the door of the monk's cell. Inside, the monk lay awake, preoccupied with plans to sell the carcass of a cow he intended to slaughter the next day. He meticulously calculated the value of each part. The head can bring in this much, the hind legs can fetch that much, the shoulder from the forelegs can earn this much, and so on, down to the knuckles and shins. Lost in his calculations, he remained awake the entire night, managing to determine the price of every part of the cow, except for the tail. In the morning, the monk got up straight away, completed his prayers, and made torma offerings. As he stepped outside, he noticed Milarepa still asleep and scolded him, saying, "You call yourself a Dharma practitioner, yet you are still sleeping at this hour. Don't you engage in any practice or recitation at all?" Milarepa calmly replied, I do not usually sleep like this, but last night I spent the entire night thinking about how to sell a cow of mine that is destined for slaughter. I only managed to fall asleep a short while ago. With this remark, Milarepa exposed the monk's hidden faults and walked away. Like the monk in this story, those who devote their lives solely to business become so consumed by their calculations that they remain lost in delusion. Even when death arrives, they will pass away as deluded as ever.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a long reading. So, which part strikes you the most here?
About temples, we need more temples and monasteries. I have an example. We have one temple here in a large city, and the monk said that people are afraid to visit Buddhist temple. People afraid, yes, because people for whom Buddhism is a traditional religion, they they look at visiting Buddhist temple as outdated, a kind of grandparent thing, not modern. And those who and non-Buddhists who are interested in Buddhism, they just walk around and they are afraid to enter the temple and to ask. Usually they just stay silent. So he said that this is a problem because you are encouraged to ask questions. You are encouraged to visit, to attend to rituals. So maybe more stupas we need. Open.
Yeah, depend on the audience. Temple mentioned that it's for study, reading, not too much ceremony and so forth. But I think actually the temple, the main purpose is training the mind, is not for ceremonies and chanting and so forth. But I think that's have to be careful. And how do you like Milarepa's stories? Does monk have the compassion? And I mean, he's starting a cow. I was just surprised. How did a monk slaughtering a cow? He intended to kill. That's the first precept is gone already, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And,
go on, please.
I think this monk is too much involved in making money. I mean, of course, he got up early and do his recitation and so forth, but it just on surface. It's not, superficially. He already committed killing, and he does not have renunciation, no devotion, no compassion. So totally, it's reverse of what need to be done.
I would say that I heard of this story, and I would say that it is not necessarily reading the mind, because looking at the actions, you can find out the intention. For example, this monk calculated the income the whole night, and it is obvious what he practiced that night. He practiced money calculation, not Buddhism.
Right, and then he intend to kill that cow. So so Milarepa actually is a great practitioner. Even can read others' mind when what the other people are thinking about it. So we have to be careful not to be a practitioner on surface only, but really training the mind. That's the whole purpose of Dhamma practice. Okay. Oh, another thing is it mentioned here, everything is empty. So what's the use of building a Dharma center? I think many people, I mean, here is the empty, it's a trick part. Okay, actually it should be say emptiness, okay? Things is empty does not mean non-existence, okay? The empty means things are empty of independent, permanent, or essential nature. Okay, it's not nothing there. You cannot say empty without anything there. Actually, empty is something there. So emptiness and appearance are inseparable. Okay. So where things are like ultimate essence, they arise through causes and function conventionally. The law of karma remains infallible. Okay, so the building is empty, but you build it, it will have the function to become a center for Dharma study. And as long as causes condition come together, things appear. Because things doesn't have a fixed center, that's why things appear. So emptiness isn't is not a reason to stop doing things. It is a very reason why things possible, because it's empty. So anything can happen. So most people think I heard that emptiness is form is empty. Because, oh, everything's empty, empty, empty. Empty means nothing. Like there's no water in the cup, but that's not the real meaning of emptiness. In emptiness means it lacks an independent, permanent, essential nature. That's what. And then don't forget the conventional truth. Okay, even the ultimate sense is no essence, and things will come because of causes condition come together. It will appear. That's because they're empty, so things can appear because it's not fixed. If it's something is not empty, it will be there all the time. There's no change at all because things can change. Things empty, it can change. So we could the karmic law it remains infallible. That's one thing we have to remember. Any more comment on this or thinking? How would you like to have a club when you can read others and read others' mind? You cannot sleep at all. Yeah, anyway, so let's move on then. Chris, can you read number 5?
Sure. These sections of the text addresses taking what is not given, but Patrol Rinpoche primarily highlighted the fall of monastic running a business, given the situation at the time. Business dealings often involve various forms of negative actions. Sellers, regardless of the actual quality of their goods, to go great length to exaggerate their value. They fabricate claims such as insisting that another buyer has already made a high offer that they supposedly declined, or that they originally purchased the item for a substantial amount. This is lying. In an attempt to acquire something already being negotiated between two other parties, seller may resort to slander to create discord and disrupt the agreement. This is showing discord. They resort to harsh language to disparage their competitors' product to the actual depth, among other tactics. This is harsh speech. They engage in meaningless conversation by setting absurd price or bargaining for item they have no genuine intention to purchase. This is worthless chatter. They feel envious of others' possessions and eagerly seek ways to acquire them. This is covetous. They wish harm upon their competitor, constantly striving to outdo them. This is wishing harm on others. If they engage in livestock trading, they are involved in killing. Business, in fact, involve all 10 negative actions. except perhaps wrong views and sexual misconduct. However, business can indirectly lead to wrong views and sexual misconduct. For instance, when negotiating a contract, one may network in place of entertainment that include prostitution, which constitutes sexual misconduct. However, when an individual engages in business for an extended period, they may struggle to devote sufficient time to studying the practice of the Dharma. Consequently, they may eventually begin to criticize the low karma, even the three jewel, thus adopting wrong views. The Sutta of the Great Heap of Jewels states, if one covets the wealth of others, constantly giving rise to engage, anger and hatred, and he has very wrong views, this person will fall into the lower realms. When their transactions collapse, both parties despite their asset, causing everyone involved to suffer. In extreme cases, a merchant may even face starvation, harming not only themselves but also their counterpart. Yes, even if they achieve some success, no amount of wealth even feels sufficient. Even those whose fortunes spiral by Shavana still eagerly engage in their authentical dealing. Many people are like this today, even if they have made tens of millions of dollars. They continue to invest more. They even done nothing beneficially for society, nor they have enjoyed a single of happiness in their life. They spend their entire life being busy and aimlessly wandering around, and eventually their life come to the end. They rarely engage in virtue deeds, and they all do it. They indulge in food and drink. In doing so, they harm and deceive many beings. As death approaches, they will beat their chests in despair, for their entire life were consumed by this very obsession, which now act as crushing burden, dragging them into the lower realm. The Sutra of the Right Mindfulness of the Dharma says, a person's mind is often covered by evil and greed. He will always fall into the lower realms, such as hell and realms of pretas. There is no more potent mean accumulating countless harm, full deed, and completely corrupting yourself than through trade and commerce. You constantly devise sin to deceive others, as succeeding through assortment of knife, owls, and needles in search of sharpest tool by obsessively dwelling on malicious intentions. You abandon the noble aspiration bodhicitta, the commitment to benefit others, and your destructive action grow abundantly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So this reading text cover quite a bit. The 10 non-virtues are committed, and then also our mind are totally involved in delusion. So what do you think about this? Let's see.
I think it's the topic is today is like it's kind of trendy now. It's everywhere, even in religions. You know, if we look deeper in every, you know, religion, they oftenly trying to trick people and saying harsh word toward others. It's not just in the business. That sadly that we will facing the, like Kempo was saying, the Dharma is almost the end of the Dharma. You know, because by my own experience, I was once listening one Rinpoche talking about meditation, and he's like openly teaching meditation, and I have to register and pay some money. And as soon as I know I have to pay some money, I stop for doing this. That's
Yeah,
that's very, very scary.
right. This is yeah.
You know, if people doing tricky on business, we can like it's often, you know, like seems like normal, even though it's not normal to trick people. But in business, we can say that's normal happening. But in religion, in the Dharma practice, if you trick people, that's something is not normal.
Yeah. Right. I think in Patrul Rinpoche described the older days, how to trick people. Modern days have their modern ways to trick people. So we ourselves have to be careful. And also, like Jonathan mentioned that we should not provide any chance, be careful, not let others to commit non-virtues.
And
So,
excuse me,
yeah.
I just think sometimes nowadays, because the internet is so, the technology is so so commonly used, widely used, and it's just I just think it's no, well, forget what I said. Sorry, you can continue.
We should not, yeah, but we're not criticize others. Maybe we just, understand what's the right thing to do. Like the 10 virtues, 3 physical action, taking life, engage in trading, theft, obtaining profits through deceit, sexual misconduct, that's 3 physical action, verbal actions, lying, exaggerating value, showing discord, disrupt other competitors, harsh words, and criticize others' product, and words chatter, bargaining for no intention to buy. I think the most important is the mental factor, covetousness, because envy others' goods and try to acquire them, and wishing harm on this. Maybe your my business grow, yours going down, and wrong views. That's doing things because you don't know the cause effect. So that's most critical, that we should be careful. Although these days, I think, in the business here, you talk about transaction of goods, but anytime we're dealing with others, also is a transaction. And then we have to be careful about committing these 10 kind of misdeeds and so forth here. Yeah. Okay, time's running short. Let's move to reading 6. Jonathan, could you help?
Of course. Since business involves many negative actions, one might ask, does this mean it is inappropriate for a monastic to engage in business for the purpose of propagating the Dharma and benefiting others, or for a layperson to run a business to make a living? The answer is, it depends. If a monk engages in business to benefit others and support the Sangha, this action is actually permitted by the Buddha, as mentioned in the Vinaya. The treatise of the stages of yoga practice introduces 11 altruistic undertakings, stating, or if you are a monastic, you may engage in commerce to obtain clothing and food. Or if you are a layperson, you may appropriately engage in farming commerce or becoming a government official. It is acceptable as long as you're running a decent business. For example, you may purchase products from a wholesaler and then as a retailer sell them to end users. It is permissible to profit from such practices. Additionally, the Samyakta Agama provides clear explanations on this matter. A person may start by learning a skill which helps them accumulate wealth. After acquiring money and wealth, they should divide it into 4 parts. 1 part for food and other necessities, 2 parts for running the business, and the remaining part is for saving in a secret place, in a cave, in case of poverty and shortage. However, many people do not understand this. After earning money, they are reluctant to spend it and instead reinvest it in a business. Ultimately, they may not even recover their initial capital. Therefore, we can draw inspiration from the Buddha's advice. For example, if you earn 4 million, you should set aside 1 million for personal use, invest 2 million, and leave the remaining 1 million untouched. This 1 million can then serve as emergency fund in the event of an economic crisis or financial downturn. The Buddha suggests that when generating income, lay people should adhere to the principle of decency and wisdom. In the Sutra of Right Mindfulness of Dharma states, it is if one can consider all living beings as one's parents, one can abstain from taking what is not given, and one's wisdom and merits will be boundless. Therefore, the practitioner should examine everything with wisdom, treat living beings with great compassion, and seek realization with faith. These are the 3 points I emphasize, and they are also the fundamental qualities of a practitioner. Should I keep reading?
Yeah, the 4 elements.
Okay. For the act of taking what is not given to be regarded as complete negative action, it must also encompass the 4 elements previously outlined. Even the slightest involvement, such as merely providing hunters or thieves with food for their endeavors, is sufficient to bring you an equal share of the consequence of their killing or stealing. Therefore, we should not assist wrongdoers, nor should we provide physical or financial support for their actions. Otherwise, it will bring negative karmic effects to ourselves.
Thank you. Yeah, this reading covers pretty much actually. So what's the campus advisor to do in does it mean we cannot do business at all? What's the campus advice here?
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. And this is even what I teach, generally speaking, when I teach to business students. And then it makes a lot of sense to say that if you adopt a positive mindset, if you have compassion, if you treat other people with decency, if you are rigorous, if you use proper data to analyze the situation, if you're transparent, if you all of these qualities, eventually they will be good qualities. So using wisdom, having compassion, is definitely the basis of everything. So why would it not be good to do business if someone has the right view and has the right motivation? Obviously, so I think it makes a lot of sense when I hear this. And you see that Buddha's wisdom is not just about. It's not just dealing with the spiritual or the religious, but it encompasses all aspects of life, because this spirituality should be included in all aspects of life, but we tend to distinguish them. But when you think deeply, you realize that they are wisdom and compassion interpenetrates everything. So it's just it makes a lot of sense to see this. Yeah.
And what about you think about the 4 elements of?
Yeah, that's actually when we were doing the last sessions about taking life. I was also thinking about this, because indeed the 4 elements are going to be present everywhere, like in all. Whenever you want to have the maximum negative karmic impact, the 4 elements will be present. So there will be a target, there will be a motivation, there will be an action, and there will be a result. So it's indeed having that in mind, we can understand that some aspects might lead to less karmic repercussions, but at the same time, as we've discussed before, when we participate in something or ask someone to do something for us, and then that person commits a negative action on our behalf, then it is very likely that the karmic consequences will not be divided, but they will be shared entirely, as we discussed before. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's say even we provided and help thieves, unknowingly, then we have get into the same result. And also, I think it's very interesting. The Buddha even teaches how to save money. I call it one rule is making 4 million. The first part is food and necessities, and second part for business investment, and the last part was saving for emergencies. So as you say, Buddha not just teaching the Dharma, also teaching how to save money, how to put money when you earn money. That's also a practical teaching we can.
Yeah, and may I just add, like, if a person follows the Dharma and has the right view, has the right intention, has a virtuous character, and then really does things to benefit all beings, having money will also be beneficial, because this money will be used in the proper way if all the conditions that I mentioned are present before. So it's also very understandable that the Buddha, with his skillful means, could understand this, and then could teach people, and then he could advise kings as well, and people in authority, to say, like, indeed, if you use wisdom and compassion, you will accomplish so much, and so much more than maybe someone who doesn't have the possibility to be in this position. So indeed, it's deeply anchored in spirituality, but also in just concrete daily things that we have to go through.
Yeah, I think also in here, the second part for business and investment, I think also donation for the right cause maybe can include it in this one. There's also not quote an investment that just support the growth of the Dharma and so forth, maybe included here, or maybe not food, because it's for necessities. Okay, thank you. So again, the 4 branches of actions. Okay, the basics. You see somebody with money, or you taking life. An intention. I will steal, I will kill. Okay, your intention. And execution, taking the money or taking kill. And this one, here, the actual performance at this isn't limited to doing it yourself. It includes hiding someone, inciting others, or providing the necessity means for that to happen. So that's talking people into that also you're part of the execution. Okay. I think this is the most part. Sometimes we have to be most careful about it. Okay, that's a hidden involvement, and the finalization, the killing, and then getting the money. So all the 4 branches are present, the action complete. If any one branch is missing, the action is fully real. For instance, if we just step on the ants by accident, we don't have the intention that. But for eating meat, or providing coercing someone, or asking someone to do something, that's also part of it. Okay, so we have to always be careful about it. So monks engaged in business nowadays, what's your opinion about it? I think as we have already discussed, monks are monastics rely on proper renunciation, free attachment. Business activity can conflict with monastic discipline and increase great preoccupation and water entanglement. So have to be very careful to do the right motivation. And then if a monk engages to benefit others, support the Sangha, the action is permitted by the Buddha, and always adhere to the principle of decency and wisdom. Okay, let's go to the last reading. I just got in time. Is it? Okay. Christina, could you help?
Sure, thank you. We have just studied the fault of negative actions of taking what is not given. This teaching is very important throughout your studies, even if you do not expect to attain for enlightenment immediately. You should at least derive some benefit from the Dharma on a daily basis, as you may No, the Dharma is truly difficult to encounter. Now that you are fortunate enough to have found it, you must appreciate it as much as possible rather than set it aside. However, human beings can be quite strange. When we obtain something too easily, we often fail to appreciate it. The harder it is to attain something, the more we treasure it. There was a Chen master named Niaoki, or bird nest, during the Tang Dynasty. He lived in a tree, which earned him his name. One of his disciples had been following him and practicing asceticism for 6 years, but Chen master had not imparted any teachings to him. One day, the disciple had had enough and told the master, I have been following you for 6 years, but you have never given me any teaching. I'm leaving today to find another master so that I can study the Dharma. The master asked, What do you want? Dharma, of course, the disciple replied. Upon hearing the disciple's answer, Naoki slowly pulled out a loose thread from his worn monastic robe and said, Look, isn't this the Dharma? Look at the thread. Disciple attained sudden realization. Am I overwhelming you with teachings to point where you cannot attain realization? Some Chen masters do not need to teach orally. They can help disciple reach realization with just a gesture. However, while this approach is suitable for practitioners with superior faculties, such skill for method are not appropriate for everyone. In fact, even you have not yet attained realization, you can still benefit from listening to a single Dharma class on the principle of cause and effects. Some people study Dharma with remarkable diligence. Today, I received a phone call from a graduate student from Chinese philosophy at Longchen University. She told me that since last year, Vajrasattva Dharma Assembly, she has listened to all my teachings, teaching videos available on my Chinese website, completing this in less than a year. I asked him, how many classes have you listened to in total? She replied, around 1,300 classes. She mentioned that she slept only 3 to 4 hours a night and sometimes just 2 hours. Aside from the time dedicated to schoolwork, he devoted the rest of her time to studying the Dharma. In comparison, some Dharma students might feel embarrassed. They listen to only 2 or 3 classes per week, yet complain that's too much. The other day, a lay practitioner said to me, Don't you know how hard we work? I asked, In what way? She responded, We have listened to 1 Dharma class per week. The audience laughs. Yeah.
Did we say that too? Yes.
Yeah,
We
we did. We said we worked too very hard. We don't have time, all sorts of excuse. Anyway, but
You know how hard we want.
But I just think that, sometimes I actually listen to the teaching several times, or not, well, read the teachings over and over again, and or I'll go through a book over and over again, the same one, because they're just not easy to understand. So sometimes I think I wouldn't. Well, I mean, I admire this this sister, the Dharma sisters. I just spent a year to study over 1,000 lessons, 1,000 lessons, right? But then it's but that I can't do that. I might need to spend long time on just one class.
Yeah, I think what she's concentrating on is quantity. As you say, each lesson we need to we need to digest it, not just listening. But at least she put in effort to go through the all teaching 1,300. I think it's possible. Campbell gave so many teachings already. Okay, so her diligence is commendable, and I figure she will also come back to thinking, contemplation, and so forth. But such as a diligence, it's amazing. It's not say we have to follow her, but at least we could listen to one teaching per week, okay? And we could be able, don't you know how hard we study? So we will cover that, okay? So
Yeah. Actually, I think Kampo recommend we're learning the Dharma for a long time, right? Even like the word of my perfect teacher. I mean, the Dharma's teachings has the feature is when you read it the first time, you get something. The second time, you get the other thing. It all depends on your level and your understand more deep when you read more times, right? That's why the most precious is really the Dharma teachings from the real enlightened beings like Patrul Rinpoche and Longchen Ba, those enlightened beings. So they were, transform the wisdom to you all the time. When you read once, second time, third times, even after meditation, and you go back to read, you will get different things. That's the feature of Dharma teaching. Also, the Buddha's those sutras, it's also the same. And, one thing I yes, Sally, this picture from Chen's master, that story also can give us like the thinking, like how like the disciples get enlightened, get the realization, right? It's not it's the causes and the effect when they accumulate the merit, the wisdom, all the things come together, and then at that time you need like the Chen master. They don't need to do a lot, just a gesture or something create event, and then it happened, and then at that moment you had the disciples can have a realization. But before that, they must a long time to accumulate the right causes. So we need enlightened masters. They know when the right causes for the disciples is ready, then they will have that right moment to get realization. Without the accumulated from the disciple side, without the real master, I mean enlightened master, they know how to lead the disciples, then the right causes will not meet, and then there's no very hard to the realization. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. I think this disciple in the past 6 years, he may be studying, contemplation and meditation and so forth, and just making himself a suitable vessel, so-called. So when the time's ripe, even a threat from the master's rope provided the final breakthrough for him to see the nature of the mind. So without that preparation, I mean, if we see, Buddha's, giving up the threat, so, okay, that's a threat. What's about? It won't hit us. Okay, so all we are doing here is prepare ourselves, and then the karmic seed will ripen slowly, because the seeds is there. We just make sure it grow, it thrive, and so forth. Okay. So we're almost at the end. Anybody have any thoughts? We talking about taking what is given, taken by force, taken by stealth, and taken by trickery, and how it apply to our modern society. And we understand the 4 branches of complete action, which we should be very careful, as mentioned. Let's see. Oh, the commander order a plan to act, okay, and then encourage, urge, or persuade someone to do it, or you do it. You may do it yourself, and the facilitators provide means, tools, or information, and doer, the executioner, and the one to carry out the physical act, okay? And then the supporter who approve it, defend it, or celebrate or rejoice in result. And all this receive the entire karma of the act, all these people involved. Okay, so everybody involved, direct or indirectly, receive the karma of the act. So this is why harming others is so serious. Okay, do not think I just help a little in the chain or share the full result. Okay, and then on the other hand, for a positive act, okay, initiator starts or organize the virtuous act, and then encourage others, inspire or invite others to join, and the facilitators provide resources, support, or conditions, and practitioners perform the virtuous acts, and then joyful participation, rejoice, and support. So everyone involved, directly or indirectly, received the entire merit of the act. When doing together, merits multiply. So I think this can apply to our session today, or all the sessions we study together. We are a chain of positive action. So let's rejoice our merit and dedicate the merit to all sentient beings, especially our mother on Mother's Day. Without our mom, we won't be here. Okay. So with that, anyone else join virtuous action? For example, when thousands rejoice recite the mantra together, you gain the collective merit of 1,000 folds. Okay. So anyone else want to say more about today's lesson? Hey, we're just about right in time. Okay. So if not, thank you for your precious time. I'm gonna say carve the time out to join this session, and we learn a lot. So let's do it. If there's no other comments or saying.
Excuse me, I remember there are some online stores, they sell Buddha statues, and some of them are very, very, well, the price are so much lower than the others. But sometimes their quality seems to be, they sometimes look like secondhand. So I would think that they were stolen Buddha statue. So if I buy one of those one of those statues without actually knowing whether the source, am I be part of the stealing, or if they were stolen from someone, but no one can prove whether those Buddha statue were stolen from the owner, or the owner sold their Buddha statue to this online store, then would you buy those Buddha statue, or would you buy any other Dharma rituals supply from those online store?
Yeah. Anyone had answer for Kim? First, I think be careful. Notice Dharma store is legitimate. Better belong to a Dharma center and so forth. And I would look into that. Not just a mom and pop shop, I guess. Because you can never know. I think most statues, I mean, as far as I know, it seems when we buy it, it's brand new. Okay, but if it look like used, it might have a clear source. Of course, it's everything depends on mind. If we regard this statue as pure, as an object for our reverence, and that's how it is. Okay, So also you might want to recite some of the matter of depend origination on Ye Dhamma Prabhava and things like that. So initiating, but the best you probably check out the background first and see what people say about it and check the repeat. Just as you pick up a Dharma studies, a Dharma center or so forth, make sure they're authentic Dharma and not doing business and so forth. So on our part, we have to be careful ourselves, okay? And no one can tell if this is stolen or not. That's difficult, but that we have to do our due diligence. And then also if, unfortunately we get something might be questionable, then we apply peer review, to see what we see it will become of it, like the mother's old mother Buddha's tooth. She believed that's a real Buddha's tooth, and then she prayed it, and then she got many signs of accomplishment too. Okay, so that's so far we can.
I want to add one thing, Kim. I think for Taobao, there is a Chinese website. I think everywhere around the world can buy. I know there is one or two stores is opened by Laronga. So I can ask if someone knows the store. I can share with you that for that you will get authentic. And yeah, the statues also they have a lot of. I don't think the price has to be expensive, but they also put a lot of pressures. In China, they said 装藏 means they put like a Guru Rinpoche. I don't know for sure right which one, but some of the precious ingredient in a statue. So that will bring a lot of blessings for you. But I can share. I can ask and share with you. Okay.
And the store I usually shop is called Tibetan Treasures. The Lama I studied before, Chaturtuku Rinpoche's center in California. They have a store called Tibetan Treasures. You could look it up online. I've been there. I think that's a authentic store. But just everybody have a different connections. So just be careful ourselves. Okay. Okay, let's dedicate our marriage. Please press palm together. By this marriage, may I attain the omniscient Buddhahood and overcome all enemies, the mental afflictions. May I liberate all beings from the ocean suffering and settled by the wave of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Just as the warrior Manjusri attained omniscience and Samattabhadra too, all these merits now I dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the Buddhas of the past, present, and future praise these aspiration and supreme. So now I dedicate all this root virtue for all beings to perfect good actions. Om Ahom Bezakulu Pema Siddhi Hom, Om Ahom Bezakulu Pema Siddhi Hom, Om Ahom Bezakulu Pema Siddhi Hom. So thank you all. Have a good day. Happy Mother's Day.